What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's been a very long time since I sat down and filmed a video. In the grand scheme of things, a week and a half is not that long, but generally speaking, I film several days a week, so having not filmed in that amount of time feels absolutely wild. It's so weird. I took some time over the last week and a half to stop posting content just to be respectful of the protests that are going on and just to, it just didn't feel right, to be honest with you. Like, because I'm super goofy and lighthearted in most of my videos and the tone just felt wrong. It still feels a little bit silly right now to sit down and create makeup content with the current climate of what's going on. I also think at some point we all need a little bit of a laugh. We all need a little bit of like a moment of rest, of thinking about something else. So hopefully you guys are ready for a goofy video, because today I am doing a would you rather again, and last time it got weird. So for this look that I'm wearing right now on my face, I mostly use the ABH NORVINA palette. I also dipped back into the ABH Jackie Aina palette. I feel like this palette was maybe one of the most underrated of the year. Not in general, but specifically from ABH. I feel like this might be the best collab palette they've ever done. And I don't remember if I felt so strongly about that when I first used it. I know I liked it, but I feel very strongly about that now because it's the one ABH palette that's not a NORVINA palette, like the regular line ABH palettes that I wind up going back to in regular life all the time. As always, I'll list all of the products I use down below. Even the things I use off camera, like for my base and stuff like that, I'll list those in the description. I will be talking you through what I'm doing in this video, so it is still kind of a tutorial, but it's also just kind of stupid. So if you're looking for like real true education, this is probably not the video for you today, because mostly I'm talking about whether I would like to have a tentacle for a hand or not, and that, you know what, sometimes that's okay. So with that being said, let's get into it. Let's do this makeup look and answer some very, very strange would you rather questions. Okay, to start the look, I'm going to grab my BH number 6 and I'm going to go into C5 from the NORVINA 4 palette. And I'm going to put that color right through my crease, just packing it in first and then blending it up toward the brow. And while we're at it, let's answer our first question. Would you rather have no ears or no nose? This is a hard question because it takes into account both your senses as well as aesthetics. So as far as aesthetics are concerned, obviously I would rather have no ears because most of the time I could probably just cover that up with my hair. But the other question is, are we just like cutting off the outside and like we could still have the sense? I don't really know. I don't know. I don't know. Am I losing the entire sense that goes along with the organ, or am I just losing the physical like outer part? Huh? Is that part of the question? I don't know. But anyway, I'm going with ears. Let's go with ears for now. That was one of like the more mild questions, and I just picked that one first because I wanted to ease you guys into the rest of these, because you know that these would you rathers, they get a little gross sometimes. I had no idea what a bunch of sickos you all were until the first time I asked you these questions, and then I was like, oh my god. I'm gonna grab my NABLA Dab and Smudge Brush, and I'm gonna grab the Melt Cosmetics Gel Liner in the shade Burnish, and I'm gonna use this as a base. I'm in the mood for something like really rich and saturated looking today, so using this as a base underneath these pinky burgundy tones, it's gonna do that for us. I'm gonna put that over the whole lid. And next question, would you rather time travel plus or minus 20 years every time you fart, or teleport to a different place every time you sneeze? Okay, so the first thing we need to take into consideration is whether we find it more interesting or more dangerous or more appealing or unappealing to teleport or to time travel. I'm gonna go with teleportation over time travel because I don't know what's gonna happen in the future, and that sounds like it could have a lot more complications than simply teleporting somewhere else right now. I'm gonna use a NABLA pointed crease brush to just blend that base into the crease a little bit. Now, the other thing in question here, how often do I fart versus how often I sneeze. I'm gonna be honest, I probably fart more than I sneeze. Nobody wants to admit that, but it's probably true. Now, in this scenario, not only am I time traveling when I fart, but I'm also doing it way more often because it's every time. This says every single time. And it also just says plus or minus 20 years. It doesn't say like if you get to choose that plus or minus. So you might just not have any choice. You might just keep going back 20 until you're like in the 1400s. Or maybe you'll go hella far into the future and then there'll be no people left and you'll be alone. There are just too many ways that that could possibly go wrong. So I am going to choose to teleport to a different part of the world every time I sneeze. Although now that I'm thinking about it, what if it teleports me into the middle of a volcano? You know, honestly, this is a really dangerous question, and you guys really know how to get me thinking about dumb shit that has no real world consequences, but makes me argue with myself, which, by the way, is one of my favorite things to do. I'm gonna stick with my answer and teleport every time I sneeze, but I just want you to know that I'm scared about volcanoes. I'm gonna pick up that NABLA pointed crease brush again, and I'm gonna go into the shade E4, and I'm gonna use that through the entire crease to blend that base into the pink that we put earlier. Would you rather have duck lips like a beak or a duck's feet? So the obvious answer to this is that I would rather have a duck's feet, because most of the time my feet are covered in shoes, so it's gonna be like less obvious all the time that I'm like some type of strange human duck hybrid that nobody knew existed until this very moment in time, and that would be ideal. However, if we're talking about function here, duck feet, they're gonna stop me from doing a lot of the things that I like to do. I certainly can't work out the way I normally do. I almost certainly can't cycle. I go to a lot of cycling classes. Those are out of the question. Kickboxing probably not gonna function the same, thinking that's gonna be a problem too. However, YouTube, makeup, Instagram, my social life in general, kissing a man, not gonna happen with the duck mouth. So this is also a hard question. You know, you look at these questions and you think how stupid they are until you try to answer them, and then you're like, you know what, this is actually hard. But I think at the end of the day, when we boil it all down, I'm gonna have to go with the duck feet. Humans are very adaptable creatures, and I think that I could probably eventually make it work, maybe? I would also assume that if I had a beak, it wouldn't just be my lips, it would like cover my nose, you know? So that's like a whole, like my whole face is gone. The problem with these hypotheticals is that you don't really know the details of them because nobody does, because they're fake. I'm gonna grab my MAC 242 brush, and I'm actually gonna dip into the Jackie Aina palette on this one. I'm gonna go into this red shade Wigglies, and I'm going to press that over the center of the lid. The next question is, would you rather eat cockroaches to survive or be stuck in a room with mice? We didn't really specify in this one how long we need to do either of these things, but I would rather starve, probably to death, than eat a roach. Honestly, I don't think I could make myself do it, even if my life depended on it. I don't know how people on Fear Factor did it for money, because I don't even think I could do it to save my own self. I don't think I could do it if I was hanging off a cliff and somebody said, eat this roach, because if you don't, I'll drop you. I don't think I could do it. I really don't. Mice don't bother me. Rodents in general don't bother me. As most of you guys probably know, I have a hamster, which if you look at things is not that far off from a mouse in general, but also, like, I don't know, like, I just have a soft spot for rodents. Like, I don't find them gross. I know that they're like dirty and you shouldn't let them live in your house, and that's fine, I get that. But at the same time, if I see one, I don't scream. Little cute rodents, I don't know, I just have such a soft spot for them. We have so many chipmunks in the yard around my house, and everybody says that we should relocate them and get rid of them, but to be honest with you, I just love them. I think they're so cute. I love watching them in the yard, filling their little cheeks with stuff they found in the grass. I think it's the freaking cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. Regardless of how long the time frame of this question is, I am going to choose to be stuck in a room with mice. I don't think it's gonna be that bad. I think it might be kind of fun. Like, what if I could make them my friends like Cinderella did? That would be pretty sick. On my ring finger, I'm gonna go into the pressed glitter shade E3 from the NORVINA 4 palette. I'm just gonna put a tiny bit of that right in the center of the lid. I concealed and I put some ABH vanilla powder under my eyes to brighten things up, and now I'm gonna start working on the lower lash line. I'm gonna first go through my waterline with the Urban Decay 24/7 pencil in the color ALKALINE. This is a very deep burgundy. And the next question I'm going to answer is, would you rather look 15 years older from the neck up or the neck down? I'm not super freaked out by aging, whether it's from the neck down or the neck up. I don't think that we should look at youthfulness as the be-all end-all of beauty, because we don't have an expiration date and we're all going to age eventually, and I think that's okay. However, to answer this question, I think that I'm going to choose to age from the neck up. And that might seem counterintuitive to some, but what I'm thinking is that if I'm aging from the neck down, that aging probably has more to do with the way my body functions than from the neck up. Because if we're talking from the neck up, then we're talking maybe some wrinkles, a couple of crow's feet, perhaps I've got some age spots on my skin. But if we're talking from the neck down, generally, unless we're only talking about like skin texture and stuff, I'm assuming that means like muscle loss and stuff like that. And I want to be able to function in a healthy way for as long as possible. That's so much more meaningful to me than like what my skin looks like in 15 years. Now, maybe I'm thinking way too deeply into this, and the person asking the question was only asking from like a point of view of what you look like, in which case I don't know what I would answer. But assuming that this is overall aging and not just my looks, then I'm going to choose to age from the neck up. Oh, wait a second though. You could argue that aging from the neck up would also age my brain. Shit. All right, I'm gonna still choose to age from the neck up, because if my body is still youthful, then I can do healthy things for my body, which will lead me to still have better cognitive function even as my head ages. And it's the only answer. My BH number 7, I'm gonna go back into the shade C5 again, and I'm gonna use that to start blending out the lower lash line. The next question is, would you rather give up caffeine for life or only drink caffeinated drinks for a month? Girl, I have news for you. I am already doing option B. I often forget to drink anything but caffeine until I am so far into my day that I have to take a moment to figure out why I feel weird and wrong. And I'm not bragging about this. It's a terrible habit. A really great example actually is last week. It was about 90 degrees outside. I did an outdoor workout. I only drank coffee before I got there, and then when I came home, I drank an energy drink, and then I didn't have any more water. I had some water during the workout because, you know, you have to, but literally that was it. And then I had a glass of wine, and then I went to bed. And when I woke up in the morning, I was literally appalled at how dark my pee was. And I know that that's disgusting and you probably don't want to hear that, but that's the truth of the matter. I peed, it looked like iced tea, okay? It was disgusting and I was horrified. Here's the thing. I'm thinking that only drinking caffeinated beverages for a month, like my body's kind of already used to that. I don't really think it will entirely know the difference. And then once the month is over, I can get back to business as usual. Whereas if I couldn't have caffeine again for the rest of my life, sure, would I be a perfectly healthy, normal human being who could function? Yeah, I totally would. But guess what? That first month is gonna be a real bitch. That's gonna be tough. Also, for the rest of my life, I'm gonna want that little pick-me-up of a cup of coffee because I love coffee. So I'm gonna go ahead and choose to only drink caffeinated beverages for a month because quite frankly, I think that I have conditioned my body to be ready for that. I'm gonna take a Makeup Geek pencil brush. This is a nice small little dense pencil brush. I'm gonna go into the shade E4 and I'm gonna run that along my lower lashes. Would you rather step in warm dog poop or someone's cold pee? Now, what I think is interesting about this question in particular is that the poop is from a dog, but the pee is from a someone. honestly, I don't really see that much of a difference between human pee and dog pee. Both are really disgusting. I don't know if you can catch a disease from pee. Some people say that pee is sterile, and then I've heard that that's not true. So I don't know which is right. However, I'm assuming that you can probably catch something from pee, and if it's a human, I could probably catch the human stuff from human pee, but there's not a whole lot of things I could catch from dog pee, I don't think. There's less, maybe. I don't know. This is not, don't lead your life based on what I'm telling you here. This could be scientifically very wrong. I do makeup on YouTube. Don't listen to me about literally anything else. Cold pee, not that crazy. Warm poop, I'm gonna throw up. The smell of it still being warm and in the air, yeah, I have to choose the pee on this one. There is no other way that I'm not gonna barf. Okay, put on House of Lash's Siren Double. I finished up my skin. Now I'm gonna add a lip to this look, but before we do that, we have one more question to answer. Would you rather have one hand be a bird claw or one hand be a tentacle? In parentheses, don't judge me too harshly. First of all, I would never judge you harshly or otherwise. Now to answer that question, one bird claw or one tentacle. So I'm assuming this is going to be my left hand because you didn't specify, which leads me to believe I have a choice. So I'm going to keep my dominant hand, my human hand. Also, why are so many of these questions replacing my parts with animal parts? What's that? What is that? If anybody out there is like a psychologist, can you analyze that for me? Why do so many of my followers want to replace my parts with animal parts? What's up with that? So I'm assuming I'm keeping my dominant hand, and the lefty over here is either going to be a bird claw or a tentacle. Now, a bird claw can like grab onto things and carry them really well. Also, this already kind of looks like a bird claw with my nails and, you know, just not that far off. A tentacle, however, that might open a whole new realm of possibilities for me. Have you ever seen the videos of like octopuses, or octopi rather, I'm so dumb, octopi opening jars and stuff? First of all, they open jars better than I ever could. So that right there, one advantage already. You can like go inside like a little skinny bottle and get stuff out from the outside. You could suction to stuff. If I wanted to, I could probably use it to like climb things better with the suction. I'm thinking a tentacle is the way to go. I want to be able to do things that I wouldn't be able to do with my hand. And I think that a tentacle is going to give me more dexterity, if anything, and a bird claw is going to give me less dexterity. So, I mean, a tentacle is kind of a no-brainer here. So I think that is all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for those of you who submitted questions. I really appreciate it. You guys come up with some twisted shit, and it makes me simultaneously like a little concerned, but also really proud of you. If you want to partake in things like submitting questions for Would You Rather or any other things that go on this channel, generally where I do that is Instagram stories. So you can come find me over there. I'm at Ms. Quinface, and I would love to have you. Please don't forget to leave a like on this video if you don't mind taking a moment to do it, because it's very helpful and I would appreciate it. And if you are new around here, go ahead and subscribe because I would love to have you around for more videos. Feel free to leave me comments down below answering these Would You Rathers the way you would answer them. If there's one in particular that struck you and you feel like you need to answer it for yourself, have a freaking blast down there in the comment section. I absolutely loved reading the answers that you guys left the last time we did one of these videos. I think that's all I need to say for today. Thank you so much for taking the time to maybe clear your mind for a little bit and hang out with me and talk about makeup. I hope it was helpful for you. I hope that you are all safe and as happy as possible under the current circumstances right now, and I will see you in the next one.